Hi, what's up YouTube? Welcome back for another video. It's been a few days since I uploaded a video. I got some videos lined up. I just had to get them ready for you guys so I can upload them and stuff. But I'm just keeping the intro short, and you guys been waiting on some more videos and stuff. Greatest, what if they played the whole game performances? I'm quite sure they will have when Kobe scored 81 points. I don't think he played the whole game. Probably some LeBron stuff on here. More likely probably some Wilt. But anyway, we're gonna get right to the video, man. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new. I'm almost at 1,700 subscribers. Almost at 1,700. I'm trying to get to 1,700 by the end of the day. By the end of the day, I haven't checked it today. Yesterday I checked it was at almost 1,700. But hopefully I'll get it by the end of the day. But I don't know. We'll see. But if you're new, subscribe. Maybe I get it. Enough talk about it. Let's get right to the video and let's go. Gotta put the headphones on. Here we go. MJ. Oh, shout out to Johnny Arnett.
If you followed my channel for a while, maybe you've noticed that I tend to go on imagination overload, as I continuously ask myself, what could have happened if these situations played out differently? Today, I'm looking at this question through the lens of some of the greatest performances of NBA history, specifically the all-time great performances that were cut short for one reason or another. What if those players remained in the game until the final buzzer sounded? What kind of records would we be looking at today, and how would it change our perceptions of those legends? Today, I'll do my best to answer that as we marvel at what was and what could have been. The majority of this video is dominated by two players specifically, and the first of those is Kobe Bryant. Kobe was known to heat up quickly as an offensive player, and although that attribute translated to many historic evenings, several of those never even saw a fourth quarter. Kobe had 5 games in his career where he scored over 50 points through the first 3 quarters, and in only one of those games did he actually play in the fourth quarter, and unsurprisingly, that happened to be the night he scored 81 points. The first time he did that was on January 14, 2002 against the Memphis Grizzlies. Shaq had been suspended for several games for basically trying to end Brad Miller on the spot. Fortunately, Shaq is more accurate with his free throws than his punches. Without the big fella available down low, Kobe took it upon himself to carry the Lakers offensively, and that's exactly what he did, as the Mamba was blazing throughout, dropping 56 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists on 61.8% shooting. The Lakers were up by 39 points at the end of the third quarter, so he sat out the entirety of the fourth. Considering how Kobe had 53 points through 3 quarters of the 81 game, at the very least, he had a chance of reaching 80 points on this evening as well. The second instance was February 12, 2003 against the Denver Nuggets. Once again, Shaq was not available during this stretch, so Kobe had to lead the Lakers offensively. This was actually the third game of Kobe's famous streak of 9 straight 40-point games, and this was probably the most impressive. Through 3 quarters of play, Kobe had amassed a total of 51 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals on 53.6% shooting. Due to this one-man onslaught, his Lakers were up by 33 points at the end of the third quarter, and once again, Kobe didn't play a second of the fourth quarter. The third instance was on December 20th, 2005 against the Dallas Mavericks. You all know about this game, so I won't talk about it too long, but this was Kobe's famous 62 points in only 3 quarters, which is arguably the most impressive scoring performance of all time. It was 9 points more than what Kobe had through 3 quarters in the 81-point game. If Kobe had a fourth quarter just like the third quarter of this game, or like the fourth quarter of the Raptors game, then he would have finished with 90 or 92 points.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even think that's the craziest thing he passed up by sitting out the fourth quarter. At the end of the third, the scoreboard read the Mavericks 61, Kobe 62. In the history of the league, no single player has ever finished with more points than the opposing team, and Kobe had a very realistic shot of achieving it on this evening. Keep in mind that he nearly did this against a Mavericks team that was in the better half of the league defensively, and went on to the NBA Finals that season. Instead, Kobe settled with a mere total of 62 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals on 58.1% shooting. The last instance that Kobe did this was on November 30th, 2006, against the Utah Jazz. It didn't matter that the Mamba was being guarded by the defensively elite Andrei Kirilenko, as he had one of the most efficient scoring explosions of his career.
Ooh, that was a tough
At
shot.
one stretch, he hit 11 straight shots without a miss, en route to a third quarter stat line of 52 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists on 73.1% shooting.
Damn.
With the Lakers up by 22 points at the end of the third quarter, the Mamba comfortably rested the remainder of the evening. If the Mamba had played in the fourth quarter of each of these games, then we're looking at a resume today of a handful of 70-point games, several 80-point games, and possibly even a 90-point performance. If anyone ever bothers to call Kobe a stat patter, gently remind them of all the stats that the Mamba passed up. On December 5th, 2016,
Klay.
against the Indiana Pacers, Klay had his own three-quarter eruption. Many people describe Thompson as the ultimate catch-and-shoot type of player, and no game sums that up better than this one. He didn't need to play
So
in the
that
fourth
crystallized.
quarter. In fact, he only played 29 minutes of the game, and in that time, he dropped 60 points on 63.6% shooting.
In
He
three
did
quarters.
all of this on only 11 dribbles in the game, which speaks to his talent and his unique skill set.
Only
Klay
11
is one of only
dribbles.
2 players to score at least 50 points in less than 30 minutes of playing time. The other player we'll get to later in the video. Thanks to this dominant display, his Warriors were up by 33 points at the end of the third, which is why he didn't see a second
Man,
of
Klay
the
was
fourth.
going crazy.
Another Klay onslaught was cut short on January 23, 2015 against the Sacramento Kings. This is where Thompson famously set the record for the most points ever scored in a single quarter when he dropped 37. He finished
yeah, I
the
remember
game
that.
with 52 points, 5 assists, 2
that's
rebounds,
crazy.
4
37 points
steals,
in one
and 2
quarter?
blocks on 64%
That teams don't
shooting.
even score that
In
much
that iconic
in a
quarter,
quarter.
he made up 37 of the Warriors' 41 points. His
Damn.
third quarter was literally perfect, as he went 13 of 13 from the field, 9 of 9 from three-point range, and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. The
Wow.
thing is, because of the blowout, he only played in 2 minutes and 32 seconds of the fourth quarter. Not only was he sitting on 52 with a significant amount of game left, but he had also made 11 threes at that point.
He would have had about
If he had
70
remained
points.
in the game, he
At
could have
least 70.
possibly got the NBA record for the most three-pointers made in a single game. Speaking of which, the last Klay Thompson game was on October 29th, 2018, and what I believe is his most interesting what-if on this list. It was against the lowly Chicago Bulls, who had no
Bam.
answer for his sniping throughout. On this evening, Klay set the NBA record for the most three-pointers made in a single game, with
14.
a total of 14. But what's absurd is that he set this record with 4 minutes and
I'm trying to think
52
if
seconds
Steph,
left
tied
in the
it.
third quarter. Not
Um,
only did Klay not play in the
was it this year or
fourth,
last
but
year?
he didn't play in the final 16 minutes of the game. Not only could Klay have added to his impressive totals of 52 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals,
Yeah,
but
he
he
would've
also
had-
could have amassed a total of 3-pointers that may have never been challenged for as long as we
Yeah,
live.
he would have had almost 20.
On November 30th, 2019, James Harden exploded for one of his highest scoring contests against the Atlanta Hawks. This was during the peak of Harden's prime as a scorer, as the lowly Hawks had no answers for him anywhere on the court, as he dropped
He lost
60
about
points,
Carter too
8
later, though.
assists, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals on 66.7% shooting. I'm
I
sure there's a
forgot,
part of Harden that
James
wanted
Harden
to
had
play,
60 points
as reaching
in
the
the game.
80-point threshold would obviously do a tremendous amount for his legacy. But if he had continued to play, it would have been the most unnecessary fourth quarter on this list, as the Rockets were leading the Hawks by as many as 50 points in the third quarter. On February 9th, 2019,
Dame
Damian
Lillard.
Lillard had a career night, lighting up the Sacramento Kings in only 3
He
quarters.
had like 50
He's
something
yet
points.
another player
Like
who becomes
57.
extremely dangerous as he warms up from the perimeter, and the Kings learned that the hard way, as he poured in 50 points,
Oh,
6
50.
assists,
Okay.
and 3 steals on
Thought he had
61.5%
like 57.
shooting, including 8 3-pointers. He did that incredible stat line in only 29 minutes of play,
Ooh,
which put
smooth.
him right beside Klay Thompson as the only players to ever reach 50 points in less than 30 minutes of game time. The Blazers had an
Somebody should have come in and
18-point
start
lead
recording.
at the end of the third, and the reserves held strong, allowing Lillard to spend the entirety of the fourth quarter on the bench. For this next one, we're going way back in time. On
George
April
Gervin.
9th, 1978, the Iceman, George Gervin, put on a
Iceman.
show for the ages. This evening in the
I
NBA
wanna
was
be
actually
born.
pretty fascinating, as it was the last night of the regular season, and the Celtics legend John Havlicek was playing his final game, which drew all of the media's attention. Unfortunately, that meant that the scoring race and the performances of David Thompson and George Gervin were not caught on film. David Thompson dropped 73 points to take the lead of the league scoring crown ahead of Gervin. George would then need to score 49 points against the New Orleans Jazz to take the scoring crown back from Thompson, and he was well aware of this. Well, Gervin scored 53 points in the first half. With their playoff seeding already locked in place, Gervin stayed in the game just long enough to pass David Thompson, as he finished with 63 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals on 46.9% shooting.
Still a good
His
percentage,
Spurs
though.
were blown out 153 to 132, but it was never about that, as San Antonio was content to rest their stars for the playoffs. Gervin didn't play in the fourth quarter and played only a total of 33 minutes. At the very least, an 80-point performance was in the realm of possibility if George really wanted it. The last performance on this list has a different
My
spin
boy
to
Larry
it.
Bird.
It came from Larry Bird on February 18, 1985 against the Utah Jazz. During his prime, Larry was known for filling up the stat sheet, but one game summed that up better than any other. In a blowout victory, Larry Legend put up a total of 30 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and 9 steals on 59.1%
9
shooting.
steals?
The thing is, Larry didn't even play in the fourth quarter. Even crazier than that, he only played 33 minutes. Only 4 players in NBA history have ever achieved the illustrious quadruple-double, but none of those players did it in 3 quarters. At that point in history, only one player
could
had
have.
achieved the
He had got
quadruple-double.
one more steal.
Not only could he have easily been only the second player to do it if he had simply played in the fourth quarter, but he had also tied the NBA record for the most steals in a game with 9. Just one more steal would have secured the record
I
as
never
his
knew that.
own, but Larry truly only cared about winning, so he passed that up too. So now it's your turn. I've got 2 questions for you guys. 1, which one of these performances was the most impressive? And 2, if you
The
could
most
see only one of these
impressive?
performances played out till the final buzzer, which game would it be? Let me know in the
Probably
comments
that
section
Klay
below.
Thompson. He
Thanks
would
for
have had
watching as
almost.
always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you.
Probably that Klay Thompson. He would have had almost 20. I'm covering the microphone up. He would have had almost 23 points in that game if he had just played the whole game. That's why. But let me know what y'all think about the video. What was the most interesting performance or whatever that they didn't play the whole game. I hate that I stutter so much, man. I hate it. I hate that I stutter so much, man. But anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, all the good stuff, and see you guys next video.